Welcome into another edition of The Point After. I'm Jorge Andres. It's been a busy week for the Charlotte Hornets as Tuesday they introduced their new head coach, followed by the selection of their first two draft picks Wednesday and Thursday. So, who did they take and what do we know about them? Well, Wednesday, with the 6th overall selection, the Hornets nabbed the 6'9", 217-pound French power forward Tijan Soulon. Tijan Soulon, that's right, that was the first pick that the Charlotte Hornets selected. How about on day two? Well, on day two, the Hornets selected scoring guard KJ Simpson out of Colorado. Now let's focus on Soulon as he turns 19 in August. And again, he played professional basketball in the top league in France. Now he has a great frame, phenomenal length for this kid. He's a versatile shot maker, that's a win. Intensity is great, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. That's what first opened the doors for him in France. Now, he does need to improve the ball handling skills, and he's inconsistent at times with speed on both sides of the court. But upside with him is big if he can develop. How about KJ Simpson, the guy you're seeing on your screen right now? Listen, he's a scorer. He can be really creative, but he's definitely undersized, folks. He's an athlete, I'll give him that, but it will be a liability on the defensive side due to his lack of strength. So, to the gym you go, KJ Simpson. We'll see how he develops. Again, two great additions for the Charlotte Hornets team. I want to go back to Soulon because he is an athletic player. He is somebody that has length, that has size, and the best part about him, in my opinion, is that he has a defensive upside that can be plug and play immediately. For more now on both Hornets rookies, we are pleased to be joined by our own Cam Gaskins, who's out at the rookies press conference. And Cam, look, you've been following this all week. You've gotten to see the guys. What's your first impression from both Soulon and Simpson?
Yeah, well, Jorge, if you're wondering why I'm sitting right now, that's because we just got done moments ago interviewing Soulon. He's a lot taller than me, and so we tried to sit to kind of be on eye level. We'll have that conversation coming up later on WBTV. But first impressions is that the front office is thrilled with both of these draft picks, and I think when you look at what this new front office is trying to bring in terms of a change of energy, a change of mentality, a change of identity with this team, they feel like the two guys they drafted in this year's draft fit that mentality and that identity to a T. And so I think that the first takeaway is that both of these guys, Simpson and Soulon, love basketball. That's evident in every single answer they give, and they're hard workers. I think that's the biggest thing. You talk about areas where both might need to improve. I think they both are aware of that, and they're both very much not afraid of the work that it takes to improve in those areas that need to see improvement. So I think from a mentality and a grit kind of standpoint, it's hard not to be excited about these two draft picks for the Hornets this year.
It's all about a change in culture, really, and like you mentioned, the work ethic is the key to get that change in culture. Look, just days ago, Coach Lee was just introduced. What are the early rumblings that you're hearing so far on how perhaps they may use Soulon, if at all, once the season tips off?
Yeah, so Charles Lee was asked that question specifically, and his answer was kind of, look, it's a positionless league really right now in the NBA, so he didn't get too much into specifics. He wants to see sort of how the summer league goes and how workouts go before he kind of, commits necessarily to what the roles for these players might look like. But he said, look, the first thing they're going to learn, the first thing that they're going to figure out with this team is defense comes first. That is the number one thing when it comes to the Hornets. So that is going to be their role, is figuring out how to maximize their abilities and their potential as defenders. And so with both guys, I think that's one of the things that they saw when they drafted, is the ability to defend at multiple positions. And so I think that's going to be the number one thing. Offensively, they'll figure that out. Both prospects obviously, have their areas where they're still working and improving and developing to get to, being ready at the NBA level. But I think defense is going to be the biggest thing. And I think Charles Lee definitely has a vision and a plan for how these two players will ultimately fit in defensively. When that happens will remain to be seen. But I think that's the ultimate goal, is to make sure these guys will fit into the defensive identity of what they're trying to build here with the Hornets.
Look, and if defense is something that we're focusing on, unfortunately, the big knock on KJ Simpson is that he's undersized. How much have you heard about his size being an issue, even though he's a prolific scorer, his size being an issue when it comes to the defensive side, and how long it will take to develop him?
Yeah, well, the size didn't seem to be an issue when Charles Lee and Jeff Peterson were talking about KJ Simpson here just in the press conference, and we just spoke with him again a couple moments ago, and what he lacks in size, he more than makes up for in effort, energy, hustle, and those are things that you can't teach. Those are things that you really can't develop. It's either you have that in you or you don't, and so I feel like whatever deficiencies you might see in terms of the lack of size, I feel like he will make up for it in effort. He will be a problem. He will be a pest on whatever his assignment is. If it's in the zone, if it's man-to-man, he's going to be a guy that offensive players will not want to see matched up across from him, just because he has that kind of internal motor and that internal battery that I think will definitely make up for, again, like we said, anything that he might not have from a size and length perspective. He's going to have that motor that is going to make him a real problem for opposing offenses.
I remember Cam will have plenty of coverage on these draft picks throughout the day on WBTV, so make sure you check that out. Cam, thanks so much. All right, still to come, sound the alarm for Team USA after a deflating loss to Panama. What's next for the Americans? Charlotte FC's Jaime Moreno is in studio to break down all of Copa America.
Summertime is here, and dangerous heat and humidity going to come with it. Make sure you're staying hydrated and try to limit the time that you spend outside. Make sure you're checking on the kids and the elderly, and make sure everyone has a safe summer. Download the free WBTV weather app to keep up to date.
Multiple lane changes, tailgating, speeding, the daily chaos of driving Charlotte crazy. We've all seen it. Now WBTV is streaming a new show dedicated to the madness of Charlotte traffic. Join the ride. Download the WBTV News app and stream us on any device.
Welcome back to The Point After. We are focusing on Copa America. It is underway. It all got started on June the 20th, the semifinal, one of them coming to Charlotte Bank of America Stadium on July the 10th, and the third place game on July the 13th, also in the Queen City. To break it all down and help us make sense of Copa America and the results, we're joined by Charlotte FC Spanish language voice, Jaime Moreno. Jaime, thanks so much for being here.
Okay.
I love it when we break it down, brother. And here's the thing. It was a deflating loss for the United States yesterday against this Panamanian team. A 2-1 final result. A very, very chippy game. Red cards left and right. Some questionable officiating. What did you take away from the game?
Well, first of all, the city of Atlanta was shocked.
Yeah.
The stadium was shocked. The U.S. Air Soccer Federation was shocked because what happened yesterday wasn't part of the plan. But Ben Halter planned a game with 11 players. At minute 18, Weah goes down with a red card, and now you have to adjust the plan. Even though with 10 players, USA scored and went ahead 1-0. But let's go be honest, this Panama team is a team full of talent. It's a team full of experience, and yesterday they shocked the world when they beat United States 2-1.
I have to mention Ivan Cisneros, the referee of this game. There was a red card for Carrasquilla late in the 88th minute. Of course, we talked about Tim Weah's red card. There could have easily been more red cards on the Panamanian side. What are you hearing in terms of the way this was officiated against the U.S.?
Absolutely, and I don't know if you will see this referee again. Yeah. As a part of this Copa America. I think this is the most questionable referee through the tournament. It was week 2 for this Group C, and it was important to bring your best referees, refereeing a team like USA, like Panama. You know these teams are rivals.
Oh, yeah.
They play for the CONCACAF many, many times. And USA controlled the destiny, but now everything get close on this group.
That's right. Everything's close. They're going to have to wait to see what happens with that Bolivia-Panama game, as well as how they play against Uruguay. Let's talk about another rival for the USA, El Tri, Mexico. They lose to Venezuela 1-0. What's happening with Mexico?
Well, what happened with Rafa Romo, the goalkeeper from Venezuela? Remember, Rafa Romo used to play on the MLS for the Washington, D.C. team. For some reason, he left. He goes to Ecuador. And from that moment, his life had changed. He used for U Católica of Quito, and he's been developing himself. And you saw what happened last Wednesday. We couldn't score. We couldn't score, and that really hurt the Mexican team because now they're in trouble.
They're in big trouble. Another team that's in big trouble is Peru. The Group A is Argentina, Canada, Chile, and Peru. Chile and Peru should be easy teams to make it to this next round, but Argentina, obviously the best team in that group. Canada played very, very well and beat Peru. Now, who comes out of that group in second place?
My opinion is going to be Canada and Argentina. Argentina qualify on the first play, Canada. Speed, talent, and technical team. And that's the way they present themselves in the field. And I think they will be able to give a good game to Chile too. So I think the two teams that will come out of this group will be Argentina in first and Canada in second.
Imagine that, a CONCACAF team like Canada knocking out the likes of Chile and Peru. Speaking of CONMEBOL teams, powerhouses, and CONCACAF teams that are playing well, Brazil and Costa Rica tied to a 0-0 result. We were expecting 7 goals from Brazil. What happened?
Remember, Costa Rica just hired a new coach with a lot of experience. Alfaro used to be the head coach for the national team of Ecuador, represent the World Cup with Ecuador last World Cup. System beats individually players.
Yeah.
And I think the system that Alfaro put, hey, he had opportunity to win the game.
Sure, can you imagine?
On the second half, on the last 15 minutes, he threw the team up front and he said, let's go and try to see we score. And they were so close to get the 3 points.
It was very fascinating to see the Brazilians. Now they have a point with a tie. They play, and also Colombia. They play. Colombia leads that group. Colombia won, but it wasn't a convincing win. What do you expect from Colombia tonight?
Colombia will win this group. I think what the head coach is doing, mixing experience with youth, is giving results in the field. Remember, this Colombian team hasn't lost in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Since he took over the team, everybody's questioning how is he doing it? Well, how is he with James?
Yeah.
James is playing at the level that we used to see him play when he was in Spain.
It's been fantastic to see not just James, but as well as Colombia. And we will see what happens with Brazil. I could not imagine a knockout phase without Jogo Bonito.
Struggling.
Without Brazil.
They're struggling.
It's exciting to see, and we'll, of course, see who ends up in the semifinal. That's coming here to Charlotte on July the 10th, and also the third place game on July the 13th. Breaking it all down and making it make sense for us. He is the Spanish language voice of Charlotte FC, Jaime Moreno. Jaime, thanks.
Jorge, thank you.
NC Medicaid is healthcare coverage for more North Carolinians. Just go to medicaid.nc.gov and fill out the needed information. Don't wait, you can apply at any time and get covered starting the date of your application.
See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
And don't forget, we'll be breaking down all the action from Copa America every Monday and Friday with the guys from Charlotte FC. You heard from Jaime Moreno today. On Monday, you'll hear from Antonio Ramos. He'll join us to break down this weekend's action. You can catch it right here on The Point After. And, of course, special Copa America features all throughout WBTV. All right, time now for my final thoughts. We touched on it a little bit when we were discussing the USA lost to Panama with Jaime Moreno. But I have to go back to that game. I'll start with Tim Weah. I don't care how good you are, man. What are you thinking? Punching a guy with 18 minutes into the game? 80% of the game is now a defensive game because you let your team down. I don't care how good he is. He's not on my roster. I don't care. That's number one. Number two, and we touched on it with Jaime Moreno. Ivan Cisneros, the referee that ref that Panamanian USA game, should not sniff a soccer field for the next year. That was the most blatant officiating I have ever seen. Not only Turner should have been a card when they injured him, but then also late in the game when the Americans were looking to tie, they were clear red cards that were not that, including Adalberto Carrasquilla in the 88th minute, and that's where I'm going to end it because he doesn't belong on a pitch. Purposely hurting Christian Pulisic, purposely cutting his legs out of him. You saw his reaction. He got in his face, and he got a red card. Too little, too late. Panama, really? Cisneros, really? Now it's up to the Americans, up against one of the best teams on the planet, Uruguay, and maybe a little help and a gift from Bolivia. That's my final thought. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of The Point After, but don't you worry, you can stream it wherever you stream it, whether it's your phone, your tablet, your television set. Just head on over and find the apps, the WBTV app, the Roku app, the Apple app, the Fire TV app, Mondays and Fridays, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and of course, the WBTV app. See you.